Defensive Sorcery Master on your right. It's Affinity versus Ironworks Combo. Craig, would you ever play this combo deck?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like fun combo decks sometimes.
Do you have a history of playing fun combo decks?
I don't know if they were combo decks per se. I used to just try to play whatever the most powerful deck was.
Because I remember the Elf and Nail days.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this deck is exactly that. Probably a little different, but that's when I think of you and combo, I associate you with that deck, even though it wasn't technically a combo deck.
Yeah, exactly. It was doing pretty powerful, unfair things, but it wasn't just like, oh, I get these 2 cards and that's my combo.
That deck is, it's a shame, that deck is forgotten in Magic history. It's not talked about very much.
Well, it showed up for literally one event.
It was the best deck of that tournament, I think, by like a lot.
Yep. And then, a card got banned.
Which one?
Skull Clan.
Why did I? Which one? Yeah. Here's a Mind Stone and a Terrarian, and Shaheen's going to pass the turn back.
Yeah, this is a great start for Shaheen.
What card got banned? What's wrong with me? Ooh, look at Steve Mann kept a no-lander. I love it. I love it. Now he's got a Darksteel Citadel, which means his Mox is on. It's a wild keep. Here's a Springleaf Drum. What comes next here for S-Man? A player that we have seen at the Star City Games Players Championship, first one. Great Florida player is Steven. Really good online player as well.
Yeah, I was going to say a big moto aficionado.
Yep. Here's Steel Overseer, and he's going to pass the turn back over to Shaheen. Shaheen will draw. He's got a copy of Emrakul in hand. He's going to play a Mox Opal. Has he got any sweet stuff to do here? He can cast Ironworks right now if he wants to. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. He can do it for 12.
Yep, he's doing a little math because he has Emrakul in his hand right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be pretty fun to see him play an Emrakul here. Just scoop up the opponent's board with an attack next turn.
Yeah, game's over.
Yeah.
So Shaheen, right now, as he plays Ironworks, he's doing the math on how much mana he can add. Right now, if he wanted to...
I think he's at 15.
Is he at 15? 2, 4... Yeah, he can play Chalice for 0.
Yeah.
So each artifact is 2 mana. 7 times 2, quick math.
14.
The answer's 14, thank you.
Plus 1.
That's 15.
15.
And then he's going to cast Emrakul. And then Stephen Mann is going to concede. That's turn 3. That's turn 3, folks. Shaheen didn't want a feature match.
He doesn't technically kill until turn 5.
Yeah, you're right. That's on me, I'm sorry. I got it wrong.
But yeah, I mean, he got the opponent to scoop it up on turn 3. That's the W.
That's the Ironworks combo right there. Now that's not actual, no Scrap Trawler necessary for that one. That's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, that was just a whole bunch of mana.
And an Emrakul.
And an Emrakul.
Just one? Yeah,
yep.
one Emrakul.
Yep.
Yeah, nice little fun of there. Shaheen Soorani wins game number 1 here over Stephen Mann. Ironworks combo very quickly up a game over Affinity. Let's go to the sideboard. Now, Stephen Mann actually does have some good pieces of interaction here. 4 Spell Pierce, 3 Ancient Grudge, 2 Wear Tear, 2 Etch Champion, 2 Graph Trigger's Cage, a Gear Power Aether Grid, and a Whip Flare. You got to imagine this artifact move is coming in.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough with Affinity because you don't want to do what we call the over sideboarding, where you dilute your deck too much. You're giving your opponent a whole bunch of time because you end up with spells in your hand. But the Ancient Grudges and the Wear Tears all just seem like absolute all-stars in this matchup. And the Spell Pierces are kind of close.
Spell Pierce will take care of... Actually, Spell Pierce has a lot of targets.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't take care of Scrap Trawler, but it takes care of all of these, random artifacts that get this deck going. It can counter Ironworks. I don't know how often it will, but it can.
Well, I can't imagine the opponent's ever going to cast Ironworks and still have 2 mana up.
It's pretty unlikely, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But like I said, the issue here is with how many cards you actually want to side into your deck.
Yeah, do you want to board 9 cards? That's a lot of cards to sideboard in.
That's too many cards.
Yeah, that's too many cards to board in, unless you start boarding out like lands and Springleaf Drums and some other... you could board out like Galvanic Blast, I guess, for interaction and then 1 Twisted Image.
Yeah, Galvanic Blast, I think, is an easier cut. But something like Springleaf Drum, I think you're sideboarding into all these colored spells.
Yeah, so I guess you actually need Drum to be able to cast them. Okay, that makes sense. Shaheen's side, 4 Nature's Claim, 3 Defense Grid, 2 Ensnaring Bridge, 2 Nile Spellbomb, 2 Gear Power Aether Grid of his own, a great card against Affinity, along with a Battle at the Bridge and a Padim Council of Innovation. Do you want artifact removal for Shaheen's side?
I think you do. So Shaheen is He's a combo deck, but I would say he's more of a control player, and he doesn't have to worry as much about over sideboarding. As long as the game takes long enough, Shaheen's going to end up winning it with his more powerful late game deck. So I think the Nature's Claims are great. I think the gear per either grids are really great in this matchup. The Battle at the Bridge is going to buffer his life total and take out a threat. And the Padim seems like just kind of a strong anti-removal card that he can bring in that's going to help draw him some extra cards.
I think Padim's an awesome one-of to have. Like power toughness matters.
Yep.
Even though Affinity does have a lot of flyers, so may not get to block that much, but if he gets the opportunity to, should be okay. Get to draw some cards, as you mentioned, protect your artifacts, all that stuff. There's a lot to like about that as a one-of, so I expect to see that come in for Shaheen as well. Like I mentioned multiple times during the show, we did a deck tech with Shaheen, so we'll have a little something from him, maybe after this round, maybe a little later today, but in the meantime, we're going to talk about, how's it pronounced? Tarmody?
Oh, the Tarmody.
It's the Tarmody. It's Tarmodai. You get to keep track of your creature's power and toughness in style. We have a hoodie question on Twitter, by the way, for you. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Single dice and sets of 4 available now. So you can keep track of your Tarmogoyfs and your other Lurgoyfs in style. Go to StarCityGames.com/Tarmodai. You can pick them up at SCG Tour event weekends. You can also go to that web link and buy them today. Like I mentioned, single die or sets of 4. And with regards to your brain and it working very strangely, some people were wondering, let me make sure I get this correct here. That was the person who made fun of me for going to Cheesecake Factory. What would need to happen in order for SCG Tour to produce and sell Tarmo hoodies?
That's what I was just having a little survey around the room. There was a lot of interest.
A lot of interest brewing up.
Tarmogoyf themed hoodie.
Okay. I'm not even sure what the design would look like, personally. I'd have to think about it. I'm not sure. I just don't know.
I mean, with all of your work with the creature collections so far, I would think that you'd be able to come up with something kind of quick.
Our marketing team is fantastic at what they do. That is not really my expertise. I lack creativity. I'm not really an idea man. If someone gives me an idea, I can hone it and tell you, here are the flaws in it. But
your idea stinks.
I can do that too. I can yell at the best of them, but I can't bring it out of my head. I can't draw.
Okay, so I came here with the idea.
Okay.
The Tarmody.
I need a little more though. I need a look, a feel, a color. Something like, is it a track jacket? Is it a hoodie? Is it a zip-up hoodie in the middle, or is it like a pullover hoodie with pockets?
Listen, I was hoping, you could help refine.
That's a lot of work for me.
Craft my idea.
That's a lot of work for me. For now, we're going to learn about Shaheen, who is wearing a hoodie. Beautiful transition. 33-year-old, Norfolk, Virginia. 9 open top eights, 1 win. It's probably with some really bad control deck. Invitational top eights, 5 and invitational wins. None yet, but he top eight a lot of invitationals in a row. He's a Persian cooking connoisseur. Heavy dislike of puns, yet friends with Brian Braun-Duin.
Yeah, can you imagine?
That doesn't make any sense at all. Master's degree in education. He's a public high school teacher. He's all around good guy too. And he likes to play control, even though he isn't doing that this weekend. And he's, hey, we got to mention, member of Team Lingering Souls, and those guys are doing really well on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, good for them.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Him and Donald Smith and Chris Fennell, who just top 8 the last Pro Tour, so congratulations to Chris. And, man. I think his name is Alec, but I can't remember. There's a European player on the team as well who travels to a lot of American Grand Prix. Is a really good player. Won a Grand Prix with Ad Nauseam. So that team's doing really well. So good for them. As we are underway here in game number 2, Steve Mann with a Springleaf Drum and Memnite and an Inkmoth Nexus. For Shaheen, it's a Darksteel Citadel. It's a Chromatic Star. Here's a Mox Opal that's on. Shaheen might be casting a little something here in just a minute. So do you remember during Mirrodin Block when Fifth Dawn got released? And I think you were still playing pretty competitive then.
Okay.
And like Ironworks got released, and like everyone was just like, whoa.
Yeah, this has to be too good.
Like this thing has to be really like way too good. And then the deck ended up just not being that good.
Yep.
It was like kind of a surprise, I think.
Yeah.
That it wasn't busted. It was just, how did they kill people? Mere Incubator. That's what they did. Like it wasn't awesome. Like Affinity was awesome.
Yes.
And then there were, some imposter decks like Red Green Freshmaker and we're at fault for that. Like all the various Tooth and Nail decks.
Yep.
And What was the blue-red cheesequake? They used to name decks way different back in the day. Big Red too. But Ironworks never really, I guess, it never really was busted.
No, it was never a top dog.
Right? Like that's kind of strange. I think that it was never as good as people expected as here still overseer.
I was just saying to you earlier in the day, maybe it was last night, that just the current format has so many good cards.
Yep.
There's so many just fun, exciting, good cards.
Yep.
But one of them generally shakes out to just be better than the others, which is oppressive to everything else.
That's true.
So we've got cards like Paradoxical Outcome and the Engine, and just a lot of fun, interesting cards, which aren't good enough for Standard.
That's true.
And it's possible that in the broader landscape, more cards that are involved in Modern, one of these cards ends up just being ridiculous. And then we're like, man, how is this not the best card in Modern in its day?
Yeah, that's really true. It is weird. You mentioned like Paradoxical Outcome. That card's obviously really powerful. Just doesn't see a lot of play in Standard because Marvel is like so oppressive.
Yep.
And just beats people over the head so much in combination with Ulamog that it's just too much to handle. Now, Shaheen's taken a weird path this game. He's had 2 Nature's Claims. He's playing against Affinity, and instead of going after things like Steel Overseer, Cranial Plating, or Arcbound Ravager, he has killed 2 Springleaf Drums.
The colored mana.
With the thought process of something that you mentioned, which was Steven Mann's bringing a lot of color spells in after sideboard. Now, if he draws his Spire of Industries or Glimmer Voids, he can cast those spells, but looks like maybe he's relying on Springleaf Drum for his colored spells this game. Steel Overseer is... I can't imagine attacking for 1. There we go. Gonna put some counters here, and Mem Knight's gonna come in for 2. The follow-up is a Cranial Plating.
And I haven't gotten a good look at Shaheen's hand, but if he's got a card like the Girper Either Grid or anything like that left...
I think he's got Ironworks. Jeez.
All right, that's a goodie.
Well, he's reaching for mana right away. So he's got 4 colorless. The Scrap Trawler. Yeah, all right, let's take a look at that one. Because now he's online.
Yeah, this is all the pieces.
3 mana, 3/2. When it or another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return to your hand target artifact card in your graveyard with lesser converted mana cost. So he's going to get back, looks like sacrifice the star to get back a Mox Opal. Now he's got another Scrap Trawler. And so now this means that each one that dies is going to trigger twice. He's going to float a green mana. He's got 2 colorless floating. He's going to sacrifice the Mox Opal. So I think that's where the 2 colors are going to come from. So now it looks like he's going to sacrifice the Ichor Wellspring.
Yep.
Which is going to bring him up to 4. That's going to allow him to get back Chromatic Star and Mox Opal. He's drawn another copy of Ironworks. Remember, he's already played his land for the turn, so we don't have to track that. He's going to go down to 3 to play another star.
Another, in quotes, the same star over and over.
Here's Mox. Tap that for another green. Sacrifice that. Go up to 5 colorless and 2 green. Here's Everflowing Chalice. Play that, sacrifice it.
And it's the zero-cost artifacts that really allow this deck to generate tons of mana.
7 mana. Now he's going to go up to 9 mana. When Star dies, you get to draw a card. So he's picked up another Mox Opal. So now he's got 9 colorless, 2 green. Can he keep going?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I guess the question is, not so much can he, but how far through his deck can he get?
Well, he hasn't rebought an Ichor...
the Wellspring.
Wellspring yet, but he's going to do here.
He's going to play Karkline Ironworks and then sacrifice it, so he's going to go up to 7. He's going to get back Wellspring and Chromatic Star, so that's 3 more cards.
Yep.
Okay. He's going to play Mox 1, float. So when you're going off like this, look at Mox's plus 3 mana.
Yep.
Sack it to Ironworks for 2, and then tap it for any color. Shaheen's doing it for green, but just look at those as plus 3 mana every time. Now here's Star, so -1. Sacrifice that to Ironworks. He's up to 12, 16 total mana. Now he's going to get the 2 Moxes back because Star died, which triggered the Scrap Trawlers. Now here's Ancient Stirrings. That's why you see him floating the green mana, because he needs to find Emrakul.
Or Walking Ballista.
Also fine.
Yep.
Is he trying to kill people blocking Ballista? I know he's got Hangerback Walker. I don't think he's got Ballista.
All right, I might be wrong. The list I've seen have had.
Some people play
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
But anyway, he's just going to churn through his deck, like, looping all these artifacts to draw cards over and over and over, generating more and more mana each time.
Here's Wellspring. Draw. Found another Mox Opal.
And the real payoff is when the Wellspring can buy back 2 stars.
That's enough.
You just start going crazy with multiple rebuys. Although he's already got all the value in the world here.
Now he's going to Stirrings again. 5 more cards. There's Emrakul. We are done here. Shaheen Soorani is going to win this match over Stephen Mann, 2-0. Ironworks Combo is going to take care of Affinity, and it is really worth noting something that you brought up during the sideboard, which is Stephen Mann's going to bring in a lot of colored spells. It's Affinity. They always bring in colored spells after sideboard, and Shaheen going after those Springleaf Drums with copies of Nature Claim really helped him win.
Yeah, just super sharp. Stephen Mann didn't come out of the gates really fast. And Shaheen identified, like, all right, he's not going to kill me right away. I just have to make sure when I play this Ironworks that it lives.
Pretty much. It did, and then he won pretty easily. And you kind of see what happens when the ball gets rolling with that deck. I was not sure. He had Ironworks and Scrap Trawler in hand. I was curious, is there a fail-state here of him, like, not being able to go off? That particular game, it looked pretty easy.
Well, the second Scrap Trawler is what really puts him over the edge.
Sure. That allows him to get back multiple cards and just really keep it going.
Yeah.
And that's just too much to overcome. Game 1, I don't think games are going to play out a lot that way.
No.
Where you're like Hardcast the Emrakul on turn, what was that, turn 3? Yeah, on turn 3. So, I don't think that's going to happen a ton. But, one thing you mentioned, again, that is definitely true, is if someone wants to beat this deck, I think they can.
Yeah.
Like Needle and maybe some other cards I'm not thinking of, or like Leyline of the Void to get after someone's graveyard. Because I feel like they use their graveyard a lot to go off, as we saw in that particular game. Artifacts are susceptible to plenty of things.
Yeah, Stony Silence.
Yeah, it's awesome against this deck,
Ancient
right?
Grudge.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of just very powerful cards that would make this deck's life miserable.
Yeah.
Kotaki.
Yeah, it's actually good against this deck, where it's not very good against Affinity.
It's okay against Affinity, but
it's just okay against them. It's an interesting deck. We got to see it in action and really do its thing. So, congrats to Shaheen. He's 6-1 now, and yes, Shaheen, we'll have your deck soon. Okay. We're gonna watch Todd Stevens now. Hey, a Drowsy Tron, Shockaroo. I'm gonna give that one to you.
I wouldn't have guessed it.
I bet. Against Patrick Tilson, who is playing a deck. Are you sure? I think you might want this one. Siege Rhino.
Oh.
Siege Rhino.
Yeah, Siege Rhino is.
You top 8 at your Invitational.
Yeah, I know. I hate to hate on Siege Rhino, but I just don't think it's powerful enough anymore.
Did you top deck Siege Rhino to beat McDuffie?
I did.
Or did you
well,
have
I was in a. I top decked it, but I was in the
spot.
driver's seat.
Okay,
there.
yeah, you were in a good spot. I remember kind of watching that match in Columbus last year.
Yeah, I was actually like planning out my turn, and then I drew this card. I was like, okay, I'll just show him this.
Yeah, this is
like,
easy.
Yeah.
Only 2 Siege Rhino. It does seem like Siege Rhino is a little slow for the format right now.
Yeah, it's just not exciting anymore.
And not as big as Death Shadow, but it does. No, they lose life. You gain life. Okay, so it doesn't have a weird interaction with Death Shadow.
No, and yeah, when people are playing Tarmogoyfs that are just like 5/6s, and Death Shadows that are 1 mana 5/5s and 6/6s, 7/7, like, dude, you really want to show up with your 4 mana 3 color 4/5?
But I gained 3